Here we go, guys. Today we're working on the inner and outer tie rods of a 2008 Dodge Grand Caravan. I already have the car jacked up and up on stands. So we're going to start first thing by taking off the wheel. If you don't have an impact, the easiest way to do this is simply to loosen the lug nuts prior to jacking it up so the tire doesn't slip when you're removing them, and then just have them partially loosened up so that you can take them off the rest of the way once it's up in the air and it doesn't spin. So let's get started. This is a 19 millimeter. Once all those are off, take the wheel off. It's always a good plan of action with the wheels when they're off the vehicle. Go ahead and stuff them underneath when it's on jack stands, just as a safety precaution. If the jack stands fail, you always have something to put them down on. I also love using these little trays, these magnetic trays. They work awesome for lug nuts. I stick them on here, then they fall up. So, just let's keep the lug nuts in the wheel well out of the way. No big deal there. So, hold on and I'll get you guys closer and I'll show you what we're taking care of here. But what we're getting at right here is the outer tie rod here and the inner tie rod up in here. So I took care of this yesterday, so I'll get you a little bit closer and show you guys. That should be good. Awesome. So this bolt right here, this bolt is usually a nut with a pin through it. I didn't get this job done yesterday, so I just attached it just to get my son to school. It's only down the block. I tightened it down and it should be fine. We're going to start by removing this, or loosening it at least, so that we can get everything in there loosened up as well. A little gentle persuasion always helps. We're not going to completely disconnect it. There we go. If you can see here, we have the locking bolt, or locking nut. This is to keep the outer tie rod at its location, prevent it from going in or out, because this will move in here, but this keeps it locked at this distance from the center of the vehicle so that your alignment stays correctly. So typically you got to loosen that up. So mine happen to be seized on, so I cannot break them free from the actual inner tie rod. You'll see what I do about that later. So go ahead and finish taking off this bolt here, and then it's a little stuck. It's a real easy fix there. Just to loosen it up, flip the nut over and bring it down level to the top so you don't damage threads. take the nut off, and the outer tie rod should come right off. There we go. Alright guys, now if this bolt is broken away loose enough to get this off, it's pretty easy here. All we have to do from here, because you have to get in alignment anyway when you're done with this, you're going to want to try to get it as close as possible so you can still drive down the road. One easy way to do that is simply count the rotations when taking it off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. Okay, so we got about 22 and a half. Then it came off. So you want it definitely to be stiff. You don't want to be able to just wiggle it around all easily. This is the new one, so I'll show you, for instance, what the old one did. This is one of the old ones, and it just, no effort, just wiggles around, no problem. We don't want that. That creates excessive tread wear on your tires and could be potentially dangerous if they're wearing down too low, and you could blow a tire. So there's that. We'll see if this nut is still seized on there. Appears to be. We're gonna take a little bit of the PB blaster and try to get it in there. Try to get both sides, because it's gonna be important for the next step, because the boot that is on the inside needs to come out, and the only way to do that is to slide it all the way off the end. So we'll give that a minute here, and then I'll grab my other wrench and we will see if we can get that off. So I use these pliers quite a bit. These are the Doyle pliers from Harbor Freight. I specifically like these ones because they have the angled teeth here. That just makes it a little bit easier for gripping onto bolts as opposed to just a flat face. I believe these are the knockoff of the Knipex pliers. I think these were like 10 bucks each, or 7 bucks each at Harbor Freight. They do the job for the regular person, so highly recommend these. They're awesome. But moving on, I believe in here there's those little grooves. We'll see if I can get you in there for a better look. But there's these grooves right here. This is what they use when helping to adjust for the alignment. I'm not sure, I believe it's a 14. Mine are pretty chewed up, so using a wrench didn't really work. But 13's too small, and I couldn't find anything in SAE that would actually fit it either. They're either the same, so I think it's just that they're chewed up. Because of that, I'll be using 2 sets of those pliers I was showing you. It's also, I'll show you this later, but once the tie rod, the inner tie rod, is all loose, just kind of hangs there, you'll see when I install the new one that is not how the new one rests. The new one will stick straight out and stick wherever you leave it. So let's see if we can get this off, or if we're gonna have to cut it. Okay, we're just gonna cut it off. We have a replacement one anyway, so we're just gonna cut that bolt off. we're just going to go ahead and use our good old Harbor Freight grinder here. Just the paddle grinder. You don't necessarily need one this nice. They do make a good one for cheaper, but in this instance, it was on sale, so I just went ahead and got it because my cheaper one jammed up really easily. So I got this one. We're gonna go ahead and cut that nut off, just to a point that we can get it off here, so we can just slide the boot off later, and then I'll see you guys in a second. And if that doesn't work, and it's super difficult, we just cut the whole thing off. So that's kind of what you get when you live in Wisconsin. All the cars here are rusty. So we're gonna go ahead and now work on getting that inner boot off, which proves to be almost the most difficult part of this. There is a clip way in the back, I'll show you guys in a second here, that is very difficult to reach. And yeah, so we'll go ahead and get you guys a peek on that. I'll get the light on it so you guys can see it, and we'll try to get it off now. So this here, guys, this is the Bron adjustable light from Harbor Freight. 180 degrees here. I use this thing a lot. It's awesome. It's got 3 different settings: high, medium, and a pointer. Really helpful with the magnetic base here, that we can just stick it on something and it'll light everything up. I believe this is similar to a product by Astro that's very popular. So I'm just going to see if we can get it so you guys can see this. There is a little clip way back there. Right now, it's probably tucked away. I'll see if I can get it rotated up here so you guys can see it. So guys, it's located way in the back. It's on the under right hand side. This is the part I struggled with really hard yesterday. This is what makes this job difficult, is getting something back there that can undo it. Typically most people tell you use a really long screwdriver, but my long screwdrivers are not small enough of a head to actually break the clamp. So once I get this going here, I'll loosen it up, and I'll kind of show you guys how I ease it up going forward. We're going to take this clip off, just a little hose clamp style clip, put that aside. Then you may need to use a screwdriver and loosen up the boot a little bit. Just be careful, if you don't have a replacement, you're gonna have to reuse the boot. There you go. And if you can get it loosened like this, it'll give you a little bit more clearance back here to get in. So I don't think you guys were able to get a shot of it at all. So I'll just show you what it is once I get it out of there. But currently it is right down in here by the tip of my screwdriver. It's going to take a little bit of finagling, so I'll get you guys there when I get there.